Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz, guys. Welcome to episode 128 of the Untapped Podcast. If this is your first time joining us, first of all, thank you. We are thrilled to have you here with us. We've actually got 5 main formats of our show. First, we have Forging Fortitude episodes. Now, in these episodes, we cover the mental side of our brand. So we go over our anecdotal experience with things like mindset and mentality, and then we pass on tips and advice to you guys to then apply to your own lives. Next, we have physical vitality episodes. Now, in these episodes, we really get to showcase our expertise because you have 2 certified personal trainers here. So in these episodes, we cover everything to do with the gym, nutrition, diets, workout, and fitness programs like 75 Hard. We go over untapped training and things to do with that. If you guys are interested in that, please reach out to us with any questions you might have. We talk about supplements, and sometimes we will take trending topics or articles within the fitness industry and give our thoughts and opinions on those. Those episodes, guys, are full of free games, so make sure you pay attention to those.
Let's go. 128's moving, dude. Let's do this thing. Third format, guys, is our breaking news format. That is a current event-based format. We have one of the biggest current event episodes probably of our lifetime,
yes.
I'd say, as of right now, which is pretty wild. But that is when we talk about current events, current articles going on in the world. Obviously, in the physical vitality episodes, we talk on trending topics in the fitness industry. We also talk on trending topics in the current event world when it comes to these breaking news episodes. Now, we're not dooming and glooming during these episodes and acting like the world's going to end. We will always try to find positive spin, things we can do to kind of change the world on your individual level, even if you feel like you're not like, I don't know what to do. I'm pretty inconsequential, so to speak. You think of yourself that way. We're going to give you other options outside of that as well. Now, our fourth format is our Knights Table format. That is a masculinity-based format. That is when we touch on things like toxic masculinity, if it's real, or is it made up, or is it a term that was used to kind of attack men? We talk about fatherhood. We talk about how important men are in general to this world. Now, keep in mind, I'm 25. Excuse me.
Whoa.
I'm 26. Wurtz is 25. Mitchell is 24. Wow, that's weird. I'm going to have to change that around. But the reason I say that is because we are not coming to you as all put together and perfect men. The only perfect man to ever walk and grace this earth is Jesus Christ. Now, on to our fifth format. The fifth format is our guest format. That is when we sit down with an entrepreneur, fitness professional, athlete, doctor, somebody with a great story. Basically, anybody who brings you value, and then we actually have them come on. We learned a bunch on those episodes. Now you will also learn a bunch on those episodes. Our final thing to introduce is our producer and my brother, Mitchell Gabel.
Hey-yo. Dude's crying over here.
Excuse me. Oh, man.
He was trying to hold that one in there. You know what it is?
What?
It's because he's on the upper end of his 20s.
I know.
He's screwed.
It's
all downhill.
I got COVID from Biden.
He's in the second half of his 20s now.
Yep.
I mean, Lord knows what's going to happen.
He's approaching JT status quite quickly.
Dude, you might catch up to JT now.
Dude, that's problematic. Our friend Jake, he'd messaged me and he goes, "Hey, hope your knees and back are feeling okay today." And I was like, dude, if I look as good as you at your age, I'll be plenty happy with that.
Yeah,
like,
Jake those arms are stacked.
He's jacked.
Yes.
Dude.
Yes.
Massive.
Yeah, that's a married man right there.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Married men, that's how they should look
That's
there.
right. Yeah. That is right. 100%. No. Yeah, these two had birthdays, so now we got the little perfect number combo, 26, 25, 24.
Exactly. All 3 different numbers
Mitch,
lined up.
I know. Mitch, you only got 1 year left, dude.
Until
your brain is fully formed, and then you're actually a real person.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're just teenagers. Men just are teenagers until 25.
Well, basically, yeah.
We just are useless.
Yeah, you actually hit 25, and then you just enlightenment hits you.
Yeah. And
Everything comes
get
clear.
all your powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we can't tell him what our powers are yet. We gotta let him discover his own.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that pushed down from like feminism, or is that like a?
It does have a little bit to do with that.
Like we get feminist powers. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
No, like as soon as you turn 25, like the ray gun comes down and you unlock, and you're like, wow.
You just kind of wake
Wow,
up.
I'm not a twink anymore.
Yeah. Oh wow, not a twink anymore.
I know who looks the twinkish out of this room, out of the 3 of us.
Who?
I'm looking at him.
Oh, man. Why?
I don't know. Maybe it's the haircut.
Yeah, it's a mini afro right now. That'll be taken care of tomorrow, but 2 days ago from when you guys are hearing this, finally.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Mr. Beardsley in like 6 weeks probably.
Shout out those boys. They
Facts.
take great care of
Beardsley's
our hair.
in Eureka.
Yeah.
Jake and David in there. They do a phenomenal
Again,
job.
free ad because they take care of our hair like it's
100%.
like it's a child.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, like, like they nurture it. Yeah, I don't know.
It's an interesting description.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, anyway. You actually made kind of a cool comment in the intro when you were introducing the breaking news format, which is obviously what we have today. And from the title, you guys know exactly what we're about to talk about. But you mentioned, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, breaking news topics that we have had to this point in the history of the Untapped podcast.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it, but possibly ever that we might have, and in a weird way, hopefully it is the biggest. Hopefully nothing worse happens than this, which
I hope to God
is that's probably an unlikely hope by me there, but it's also kind of cool that like we have a platform here to be able to talk about something of this magnitude. We're not just someone that reposts it to our stories or whatnot or whatever. Obviously we both did that because Will posted the picture, which was cool.
Sick picture.
It is, and it was going to be on the cover of Time magazine, and
I saw they changed that.
They made a hard left turn on that. But guys, obviously from the title, we're going to talk about the attempt on former President Trump's life. Let's see, that was
Saturday.
What was the date? Yeah.
So this was July 13th. It happened.
Yeah. Yep. July 13th, he was at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, which I believe was an hour north of Pittsburgh.
That sounds.
I think
correct.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it's right around that area.
And he was in the middle of a speech and was shot at. Yeah. And there's
was it 8 total shots were taken?
So I've actually seen now that there was 12. 12 total.
Wow. Okay.
I
so
thought,
forensics showed that. Yeah.
Yeah, because originally, it sounded like there was 8, and then there was a video came out that counted to 11.
Wow.
And then now the most recent one that I've seen, and there's so much circulating about this, so much. It's everywhere. It's impossible to not know that it happened, as it should, regardless of who it is.
Yep.
When someone of that importance, whether it was President Biden, President Trump, or even Obama or something like that, like it would be everywhere. And it would have to be everywhere. But now I believe they're saying there was 12 total. Total. That doesn't mean from the shooter at Trump. That just means total shots, obviously. I'm even seeing stuff now that there was possibly a second shooter on a water tower. I don't know if you've seen that at all.
I did see a little bit about that.
Yeah.
It's hard to confirm any of this stuff is the problem. Yeah.
Because the videos that try to do that, it's like they're super zoomed in and like you see the black dot in the middle of the water tower. I'm like, well, like, how do we know that's another shooter?
Yep.
Like it literally could be a spider on the camera. Like literally, like it could be. As funny as that is, like Mitch is over there giggling. Like it could literally be a bug on the camera.
No,
and then you zoom in and it looks like this person on the water tower. It's like, is it a second shooter? Is it not? We don't know. What we do know is that Trump was shot through the ear, narrowly escaped death. I mean, truthfully. And then, within seconds, Secret Service was on top of him as they're trained, which I think everyone kind of knows that that's how they're trained to handle those types of situations. And then it was something like, 40 seconds later, he was off the stage and in the car. Pretty wild, though.
Right about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, apparently, they also should have kept him on the ground. That's another
longer.
thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and we can kind of talk about the Secret Service because at minimum, they were negligent in this entire thing.
Absolutely.
Like that's essentially pretty obvious.
Right.
I would say.
Regardless of what, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but regardless of what you think about the backstory of the whole situation, correct. And I know there's been plenty saying like he never should have had the opportunity to stand up and put his fist up in the air. And, I hear that argument because there was just an active shooter.
Yeah, let's assume that there's another one that they set up somewhere else, and then they get another crack at him.
Exactly.
Right. Because they did say shooter down, I believe.
Right.
They're communicating that. But again, I mean, even then, you want to keep him low.
Yeah.
And look, it ended up in a great picture. It ended up in a really cool picture. Like,
Sure.
It rejuvenated a lot of American pride to a certain degree, 100%.
Yeah.
But
Is that the point here, though?
That's not the point. Yeah, like the point is keeping him down,
right?
And keeping him safe in that scenario.
Right.
And like there was obviously we saw a lot of fumbling from particular Secret Service officers that were female. Wasn't a great look on that
for sure
edge of things. And it makes you start to question is like, who was a security detail put around him?
Right.
Because the Secret Service director, or whatever you want to call her, Kimberly Cheadle, was appointed by Biden. So was it a negligent job, just that, more DEI hires and whatnot, that type of stuff, that it just put around people that shouldn't be around a former president,
right?
Or a candidate that there's a lot of turmoil around and whatnot,
sure.
Both sides of things and whatnot. So there's a lot of questions to be asked, to say the least,
right?
About how the Secret Service handled it, how local law enforcement handled it, the crowd, pointing the shooter out and whatnot, how close the shooter was, because I'm pretty sure most perimeters are supposed to be farther out than that.
Than a football field and a half.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that that's the most prime time spot that they should have had an eye on.
100%.
And they should have had their own shooters on the roof, hypothetically at least. Again, I'm not a strategic guy and whatnot here. I'm not a former military tactician, but it's pretty obvious.
It's not that complicated.
Yeah, it's not like we're talking about rocket science here.
Right.
And no matter what, it's like you said, like we wouldn't want this same thing with Biden either.
No.
Like we wouldn't.
No.
Like again, we're more on the right leaning side of things and whatnot, but we can also say we're not going to set rhetoric like, oh yeah, like should he be investigated and possibly put in jail? Probably, from a lot of evidence we've seen, Biden, but that doesn't mean we're going to be like, oh, we need to shoot him in broad daylight, or something like that.
Right.
It's like, and
on live TV,
right?
Like,
and you ask the questions of the rhetoric around Trump has been that he's a Nazi, that he's Hitler. The rhetoric has been that he's a fascist dictator coming in to take over the country and whatnot and stuff like this. So you start asking questions. It's like, this could have been triggered by this.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of inconsistencies around the entire thing, as you and I have been talking about. We've sent probably 80 messages a day to each other from different stuff and whatnot about it, just speculating on our own and like trying to understand the situation. And it's damn near impossible to get a clear picture.
Oh, it is, because, all of these videos have surfaced too. You mentioned that people were pointing out the shooter several minutes before this even happened, even as high as 30 minutes prior to it happening. People were like, hey, there's a sketchy guy. He's got a rangefinder. He's got a backpack. He's
got a ladder.
Now he's going up a ladder onto this roof. Like, hey, that's not good. Like, probably should take care of that.
Yep.
And then we hear that either police just didn't react to it, or they said they would just watch him, or that they were told to stand down. And it's just like, okay, so what's going on here? And then the shooter is some guy who has no social media of any sort, never posted anything about anything, like basically had no identity other than his living being.
Yep.
And it's just like, this seems like a typical candidate for something bad happening, then is killed, and then there can't be any questioning or anything like that.
A scapegoat, so to speak.
Scapegoat, yes. Think about all of the mass shooters that have happened in recent years. They kind of fit that same bill.
The exact bill.
Yeah. So it's just like
the weird, super weird,
yes,
type of young man who's lost.
Yes.
Entirely, has just an odd dude in general.
Yeah.
Outcast in society, basically.
For sure.
And all of a sudden, he was able to get a hold of an AR-15. He was buying a ladder. He had the rangefinder. He had everything he needed.
Yes.
And was allowed to go up on the roof. And it's like, what in the world is going on here?
Right. And you can't help but ask the questions. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, knowing all of those things, was the Secret Service involved in this?
Right. Was
the local police involved in this? Were both of them? Was the FBI involved? Any of the agencies, were they involved in this? Were the Democrats behind it? Was Trump behind it? Did Trump plan this on himself? Which, I kind of roll my eyes at that one. Right. It's not like he needed something major to happen to gain more support.
Well, and the thing is, the biggest thing that knocks out that argument is that if you're Trump, you don't take the risk of some 20-year-old idiot possibly missing the shot and actually killing you. You would put a literal trained sniper up there.
For sure.
And even then, you wouldn't do it, because let's say something goes wrong, the wind pushes it into his head, and it kills him. So
exactly.
that one's off the table.
Right.
There's no way Trump himself was the one who was like, yeah, take a shot at me.
Right. Right. Dude's ballsy, but I'm not sure about that one.
You got to have some big balls if you're,
Yeah.
and probably like illogical balls for that matter too.
So what did you guys talk about in that episode? Oh, we talked about Trump's balls.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I
God.
tuned right out.
Oh, yikes. Yeah, I don't know, man. There is just there's a lot of question. You know, I even saw one. It's like, you know, Trump was probably holding fake blood pills in his hand, and then his hand goes up to his ear, and he smashed the pill, so then it looks like his face is bleeding or his ear is bleeding. It's just like,
Come on now.
like really?
Yeah.
That's what we're going
Let's
to now.
make this a little bit more plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way that something like this could have happened because of all the rhetoric you mentioned earlier for years on end. You know, we're talking about almost 10 years of negativity surrounding this man's name and people that support him. You know what I mean? Almost 10 years.
Yep.
Actually, it's probably been even closer than what I was imagining, because I was
'cause
imagining 2016.
Because
But
2015 is really when it heated up.
when it started. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which we remember that because that was our first election to get to vote in. You know, we were in high school when all that was going on.
Yep. You and I were old enough at that time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just, it's like, is it that big of a surprise when you do have this lost kid? Because I think he was 20, right?
He was 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have this lost kid who has nothing to believe in, has, you know, appears to have no friends or any kind of presence on any kind of social media, just in general. I don't even care what social media, but there's nothing about this kid. Then the FBI somehow couldn't get into his phone. I mean, I'm pretty sure Mitch could get into his phone.
I think they're in his phone now.
They are now, but like for a couple days after it happened, they were struggling to get in there. I'm like, you're telling me this dude just has the password? Like it's the one.
He has his shit locked down.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
There's no way.
No. Take one look at the dude.
Exactly.
And yeah.
You know, Mitch, I am curious as a former Biden voter yourself. What are your thoughts on this situation?
Unbelievable. I can't believe you would out me. I'm a redshirt Democrat.
He's like our what's it called when like on conservative like networks when they bring on like one Democrat or whatever.
He's our resident liberal.
He's our resident. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I'm blown away.
But what are just kind of your thoughts?
Have you guys talked about all the stuff behind it about BlackRock?
Oh, he was in a commercial or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And his company he worked at was like supposedly owned by a holding company who's owned by BlackRock. A little weird.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Then
I didn't actually know that.
I had heard a lot of connections to BlackRock already. I'm already hearing them shorting stocks on True Social and DJT and whatnot, that type of stuff.
I did see that.
And under President Biden, there's been a whole bunch of very favorable policies toward BlackRock. And
Are we surprised by that though?
And well, I don't know reasoning behind it, but then President Trump would claim to slash those policies.
Right.
little interesting. It's a little. I don't buy into it was staged. I love conspiracies, but I don't believe that he would stage it.
Trump himself
no,
would stage
yeah,
it.
I don't believe Trump would stage it.
I don't think any of us do. It's just something that has certainly been circulating.
I think the people have done math on this. The fact that the shot was so close, even if he would stage something like that, and again, we said it was close. Sure, it was close. It was 150 yards. Still a very difficult shot to make on iron sights at 150 yards. I mean, that's a very, very skilled marksman. I mean, you go to a range and look at a 100-yard range, it's a
football field.
It's a good distance.
It's a hard shot to make.
Yeah, consistently. And the fact that it was so close and so lucky that he turned his head, if you do all the math, if it was staged and they were purposely trying to hit his ear, one breath of wind and he's dead.
Yeah.
Why would he ever take that risk?
Right.
No.
Why?
There's so many factors that could go into that. You know, the wind, a bug lands on the shooter's hand and he flinches a little bit. You know, you never know.
Yeah. So I don't buy into that. I think the math doesn't add up on that point where it. Now, you also talked about how there was supposedly a second shooter. Typically, snipers are not alone.
Right.
I mean, this could be an anomaly, but typically folks who do this are not alone.
I mean, look at the Secret Service sniper team behind Trump there.
Well, additionally,
there's two of them.
also, you talked about a little bit of a lot of failures on Secret Service part. Typically, there's a perimeter secured out like half a mile on every building within that radius
Yeah.
At least.
of that. So that's a little interesting. And I think I also saw stuff going back to BlackRock that building was supposedly owned by BlackRock in some form or fashion.
Yeah. And that there was supposedly local police inside of that
Correct.
building too. It's just like, what are
Yes,
we doing
yes,
here?
there's law enforcement in that building, but not on the roof of the building, which is
correct.
really
Can you imagine if there was law enforcement on the roof?
Hey, dude. Good to see you up here.
yeah. Like I'm just looking at him. I couldn't get in.
Right. I'm just watching.
Cheaper out here.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you want as law enforcement to at least see like from the crowd, like they were hearing that, hey, there's a possible like suspicious guy. Wouldn't you at least check that lead out? You know,
Right.
like, give it a look.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's when you make the
Especially if it's multiple people too. Now,
Exactly.
if it's just one dude, I mean, in that situation, I think you still check it out.
Yeah.
But because it was so many people too.
yeah.
I don't think you can pin it on one person. There's just oddball things that stick out.
Right.
And of course, there's so much information around it. You cannot pinpoint something down, but there's
Right.
definitely oddball stuff going around here
Yeah.
that you're not going to blame someone, but you're going to be like, you're going to ask a few questions. I mean, it's strange. So.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. And I don't know that we'll ever get a clear answer. You know, when and if this ever goes to trial, I mean, it should, obviously. But, you know, they're going to pull something, you know, to where we sound crazy or Trump sounds crazy or Trump's party sounds crazy or whatever, you know? And as far as like the Secret Service being all around, I actually have a personal example of this. So I was at Game 1 of the World Series in 2011 here in St. Louis. And I believe it was Michelle Obama. I don't think President Obama was here, but I believe it was Michelle Obama was here. And there was Secret Service all over the place. I'm sure I've told this story before, but my dad and I were there 7 hours before the game started. And so, you know, we're walking around the stadium and whatever. This was before Ballpark Village was Ballpark Village. But as we're walking around the stadium, a huge group of Secret Service walks right by us. Probably at least 12 or 15 people, and it was pretty sick, actually. They were in like a perfect square, all wearing the same long tan, like long coats, you know, all the sunglasses, like the typical look when you think of Secret Service. One group passes us, another group passes us, like, a couple minutes later. And then once we're inside of the game, there are multiple sniper teams on the roof of Busch Stadium, which like was cool. But it's like, that's what it should look like. Security everywhere, Secret Service everywhere, sniper teams everywhere. I'm sure there were sniper teams on surrounding buildings, you know, surrounding Busch Stadium. Because obviously in a city like that with tall buildings, like there's plenty of vantage points going inside of the stadium if someone were to be planning a shot in that scenario. So my point being, here these guys are at the World Series, you know, there's Secret Service everywhere. You know, there was even special security to get into the stadium, you know. But here we are 150 yards away, and like that roof happens to not be covered. Like I just don't buy it. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know who's behind it or what happened, or if it just happened to go unchecked.
Or the higher ups told him to ignore it or whatever.
Or
Yeah.
ignore it, or whatever, you know. And I also saw this thread on Twitter that one of the Secret Service snipers that were on that roof, you know, behind Trump that you could see, he went on to, I want to say it was Reddit, and he tried to go anonymous, but for whatever reason he said his name. But, and I do not know if this is true or not.
Oh, you're talking about, this might be 4chan. That you're,
Could be. I don't know.
either way.
It was screenshots
Yeah.
on Twitter is where I saw it. And this is not confirmed. I don't know if it's true or not. But he was saying, this is the sniper talking, the Secret Service guy talking. And he goes, I had him in my sights for 3 minutes. I called it in, and they said to stand down. And that I could not take a shot. And then he shot, and that's when I killed him. And it's like, if that is true, like that's all the evidence you need right there. You know, that the higher-ups of the Secret Service or the higher-ups of the local law enforcement were 100% in on this. Mm-hmm. Again, that is not confirmed. Could be anyone.
Could be
saying that.
could be speculation
Yeah,
and whatnot.
yeah.
But the question remains.
Yes.
Is the point.
Yes.
The question remains about that. And that's and again, I'm sure in that scenario with the game 1 of 2011 World Series, I guarantee you those Secret Service agents were there days, if not weeks before, scoping it out and scouting out different locations that could possibly be threat zones, where she's going to be at, that type of stuff. Like
Absolutely.
all of these different things. And you would assume that it would be a pretty obvious catch, like, okay, this building, like, it needs to be cased.
Yeah,
in the
right.
case of the Trump assassination attempt, it's like this building in Butler, Pennsylvania, like, okay, this one's a pretty obvious one days before we scope it out. Okay, we probably should have shooters on this roof covering it, or we should have at least teams, on the roof and whatnot in general watching it. So it really makes you wonder what the hell is going on. Because then you're hearing stuff about that Austin Private Wealth LLC that's also owned by BlackRock, that's shorted the stocks days before the assassination attempt and whatnot too. So, again, it's hard for me to buy that they sent this 20-year-old kid to do it as like their best option.
Right.
You'd think you'd send like an experienced shooter to do it. I don't know.
But you said it. It's an easy scapegoat.
Right. Yeah. Because again, they could just fry his entire online history. If they use a former sniper or something like that, or like an actual registered sniper or hitman or whatever, then maybe it ends up blowing back on them more or something like that. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
There's just so little confirmation on so many ends that I don't know. It blows my mind. I'm still like shook from the fact that it's like this is just kind of the country we live in.
I know. I know.
Like you don't think of the U.S. as a country where an assassination attempt on a candidate is being taken, and whatnot.
Right?
Or
on live TV too.
On live,
and because that's another thing. Actually, on that note, CNN had covered zero of Trump's rallies until that day. They were streaming it or showing it. Fox was obviously showing it. MSNBC was showing it. When have you ever heard of anyone but Fox showing his speeches and his rallies that are not, like official speeches? You haven't. That doesn't happen. They don't like the guy. They're not going to show him. But then on this day, they happen to be doing that in Butler, Pennsylvania. We're not talking about a RNC speech like he's making tonight. We're not talking about a State of the Union address. Nothing like that. It's just another one of his rallies. He does 85 of them a day. And they happen to be showing that one. So that's another thing. It's like, what is going on here?
The sad part about it too is like the other victims that were actually killed during this whole thing are the ones being forgotten as well. You know what I mean? Because I think the guy's name, Mitchell, you might know this. The guy's name is what? Chris Comparator? Is it Chris? The one that got the firefighter that got killed in the crossfire of this whole thing?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember the name.
It's something like that. It's kind of a difficult.
The last name is Comparator or something like that pronunciation. But again, like he fell on top of his wife and daughter and protected them and shielded them while he got killed in the crossfire. So people like that are just forgotten in this whole scenario as well, which is also a dark aspect of it because the only person that's being focused on is Trump, which again, obviously a big deal as we're talking about here and whatnot. But you don't want to forget about the fact that, innocent people are just caught in the crossfire of whatever the hell this was. Of evil. Yeah. Whether it's incompetence, purposeful incompetence, or, this crazy 20-year-old went up there on his own will and tried to kill the former president.
Yeah.
So this guy is just caught in it and like he's a hero and whatnot. I think there was 2 others injured in this scenario from the last count and whatnot. And, they're completely ignored through this whole thing too. And it's just, in general, a terrifying thing to think about. Because, I thought when COVID was around, like COVID was the biggest thing I had dealt with in my lifetime sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And that was a long-term thing.
Right.
This is the craziest single event now with the assassination attempt.
Absolutely.
By far in our lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
And because I don't really count 9/11 as our lifetime. We were like, 3? Yeah. We were literally 3.
Yeah.
So it's hard to, think of that as part of our lifetime, but that's not the point. So the COVID was like full blown like psychological operation. Like, holy crap! Like they can do something that's years long at a time. This is even crazier because it's like they're ballsy enough to take a shot at the leading candidate for president right now.
Right.
It's like, or even so, it's like the rhetoric has been so crazy that it encouraged somebody to take a
Right.
shot at him, which is even scarier too.
Because, obviously we haven't said this, but I feel like we can probably rule out the obvious that this guy just happened to be able to get on the roof, take a shot, and then was killed. Like that he just did it on his own. We can probably rule that out.
It seems so unlikely.
It does. It does. And that's not okay. The attempt aside, like it's not okay that even that happened. You know what I mean? It's not okay that we should be able to rule that out, is my point. Because immediately it happens and it's like, well, who was in on this? It can't just be that terrorists ran planes into our buildings. Who was behind it? It can't just be that we're in Iraq and Afghanistan for years and years and years and years defending democracy. Well, who was in on it?
We're looking for weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're never there.
Right.
In the case of Saddam Hussein.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With COVID, it's not that just this crazy illness has broken out all over the world. Well, who's behind it? It's so disheartening that we have to ask these questions. It can't just be that there's the type of evil where they fly planes into buildings because that's what they believe is right for them to do. Mm-hmm. But no, it appears that our own government was in on that. Mm-hmm. It can't just be that we're overseas fighting wars, defending our country and defending our freedom. No, it appears that our own government is in on that. Yep. And the backdoor deals with military companies.
The MIC. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It can't just be that an illness has broken out. It appears that our government is behind it. Mm-hmm. And
had planned for something almost identical to it months before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it can't just be that there was an assassination attempt on a former president and possibly future president. Mm-hmm. Well, who was behind it? It appears that our own government could be behind it.
Somebody possibly let him up on the roof.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you keep going back through history and all of these same questions can be asked.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's what you said too, is that you said we don't know if we'll ever get a clear answer on it. We haven't gotten a clear answer on the JFK situation.
No.
Other than that the CIA was involved with it.
Right.
And that was 50 years later.
Yeah.
That we got that.
Right.
So we still we don't have a clear thing of that at all.
And we never will.
No.
Never will.
No.
I can say the same thing about 9/11 too.
Unless our country takes a completely correct turn in the right direction.
Right.
And we're just, very transparent with information and all this stuff.
As it should be.
As it should be. 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
100% as it should be.
I get the idea of, like holding certain classified information to protect a special forces team or whatever.
Sure.
And whatnot. It might be on a mission that might compromise them or something.
But 50 years later.
Yeah, come on. And
I understand not giving us the details of the Bin Laden raid.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, okay.
Hey, on CNN,
right.
This is where we're going to go.
Right.
This is where he's at. We're going to,
exactly.
no, of course not. That's not what I'm saying. Transparency wise.
And, as far as that goes, and we keep kind of mentioning these events throughout history, and we've mentioned 9/11 and the Middle East a few times here, but I remember the night that Bin Laden was killed. As funny as it is, I was watching MLB Network, almost at midnight that night.
Classic for you.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. There's no doubt. Still do that to this day. Mm-hmm. But I will never forget, I know exactly where I was sitting. I know exactly what happened on the TV when they brought that on MLB Network, not even a news channel. They were showing the Phillies game, and all of a sudden, the entire stadium at the Phillies game starts chanting USA, 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 and they talk about what happened, blah, 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 and it's just there should be pride when you take out an enemy of that magnitude. But then again, you look back now as you and me have matured here and started to think about things and ask questions along with a lot of other people. And it's just was that needed? Did that happen? You know what I mean? Who knows? What is the truth? What is the truth? And that's the scariest question that shouldn't even have to be asked, but it does have to be asked. 100% it has to be asked.
Yeah. And then you got the two sides reaction to this whole thing.
Yeah.
You got, the liberals who are the ones who are like, hey, we can't be doing this. Political violence and whatnot. It can't be happening, whatever it is. Okay, great response.
Which was good to see.
Great to see from
Yeah,
them.
because even CNN and stuff were saying that.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm like, okay, I appreciate that, Maybe they're trying to cover their asses. I don't know.
Could be.
But again, it's good to at least see it from like regular citizens that are on the left side of things too, saying that type of stuff. But then you got the ones who are saying that, man, I wish he actually would have killed him.
Yeah, too bad he missed.
Too bad he missed. And then those people are getting fired from their jobs when they find out, on social media. And then the same liberals that, tried to cancel people and get them, fired for not taking a vaccine
Right.
are the same ones getting mad about the same scenario. It's like you just wish for the assassination of a former president. It's a lot different than taking a jab that doesn't do anything.
Or just it. Yes, it happened to be a former president, but it's just a person. In general.
Yeah.
You are wishing
an
death.
assassination on somebody else.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Like that's insane.
Yeah. And do we think that there are convicted criminals that should be given the death penalty? 100%.
Obviously.
We've talked about that many times, like pedophiles, rapists, etc.
Yes.
People that are treasonous, whatever. Like, no duh. After a thorough investigation.
Right.
Not on speculation that he's Hitler and then going and taking a pot shot at the former president.
Exactly.
Like, or just because you don't like the guy's opinions.
Right.
That's not justification for taking a shot at a guy.
Which is funny because before he even became a political figure, everyone loved Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Like he was a baller.
Yeah. He was in every rap song ever.
Yeah. That, and everyone watched The Apprentice. Everyone, you're fired. Like everyone knew who Donald Trump was.
Yeah.
And like there was I'm sure there were still bad things being said about him. People are always not going to like somebody, but like the dude was just a baller. Whether he did good things or bad things with women and whatever, okay, fine, whatever. But not whatever, because if you do bad things to other people, obviously it should be taken care of.
Obviously.
But here all these trials have come out and he's been proven not guilty on all of these things. There has been falsified trials on him, falsified lies told about him and whatnot. And guys, we've said this a million times as well. Those of you that have been with us since episode 1, you know this. Trump is not perfect. He's not God. He's not going to save the country by himself. None of this. Like, we're not crazy Trump fanatic guys. However, like, you have to be able to see what has gone on the past 9+ years. And you're going to not be for someone that wants the best for the country and for you as a citizen. You know what I mean? Like, you've seen what has happened these past 4 years under Biden and the just atrocious things that have happened with just himself and the policies that have a direct effect on the citizens. Because, and maybe this was just because we were younger, to us, it didn't matter who the president was. Like, it was just, that was the president. We didn't feel the effect at the gas pump or the grocery store or whatever else. Now, it's just like, wow, this sucks. Like, this sucks. Paying $1 million in gas and for groceries and for food and, for whatever else. There's plenty of other things you can go down the line on. But, like, this guy wants better for you. For you. It doesn't matter if you're right or left, black or white, gay, straight, it doesn't matter. Like, he just wants what's best for you. And he wants the country to prosper. Is he perfect? Absolutely not. He has supported Israel. We don't support Israel. Like, we're not for sending all this money over to different countries when we have all the issues we have on our own. We're not for that. But and on that note too, you have the Republican convention going on right now. When you guys are hearing it, it was last week. And you got people openly, the one guy, I don't even remember who it was, it doesn't matter. He walks on stage, he gets introduced, he walks on stage. Crowds, clapping and cheering or whatever. And first thing he says, before he even mentions Trump, America, red, white, and blue, it doesn't matter. First thing he says is, let me hear you cheer if you support Israel.
Yep.
First thing he says.
We send that to each other, yep.
Yeah. And then you had the other one. I don't even remember what religion she was from.
She was from Sikhism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she gives a prayer to this genderless, like, devil god thing.
Waheguru or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You say Wagyu, like the Japanese beef.
Basically, it looks like how it's spelled. The Wagyu beef god.
Hell yeah.
I mean, cows are holy over there.
But again, like, genderless demonic god.
Yes.
Essentially, at the RNC.
Yeah.
The conservative side of things.
Correct.
Conservative Christian values and
Yeah.
whatnot. Yeah. It's a joke.
So there's even issues with the Republicans.
And that's a lot of they spent. You saw a bunch of them talking about how, like, It's like, what? Who here supports Israel, like you said, and
Yeah.
like cheer for that, and like we're gonna go bomb Iran.
Oh,
we're
I
gonna go
know.
overseas in the Middle East and kill all them.
Yeah.
It's
As
like,
soon as they introduced Vance as a VP.
do you have no finger on the pulse at all?
Right.
None.
Right. Like, read the room, dude.
Let Israel figure it out themselves. If they get bombed off the map, who cares? Let Palestine figure it out themselves. If they get bombed off the map, whatever. Okay, not our problem right now. We have so many other things to fix right now.
Exactly.
You know, Ukraine, same thing. Out of there. I don't let Iran do their own thing. Whatever.
Right.
Like we so many issues we have.
Correct.
No, if they come here and it's actually like they come here and mess with us.
100% all for it.
Okay, we wreck them, no doubt. Like I'm
yes.
still down. I love a good, strong military and whatnot, but I don't like one that's unnecessarily involved in every single country in the entire world
Exactly.
for no good reason.
If everything was flowing and everything was perfect here, life was prosperous in the U.S. as it's painted, as the picture is painted like that,
If we were like Dubai,
then and someone needed help, okay, fine.
or at least how Dubai looks, I should say.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like, as long as we're taken care of first, this whole America first, agenda, like 100%, let's take care of that. If someone else needs help, then okay, we can lend a helping hand. But that is never going to happen. Never. Republican, Democrat, Trump, Biden, someone else, it doesn't matter. That will never happen.
Yep.
I just don't get it.
Instead, we give money to a foreign country that owns our politicians.
Exactly.
In Israel
And Ukraine.
and Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just
Zelensky has like what, 53 houses at this point in time?
Probably.
give or take.
probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It is absolutely astounding.
And again, it's what you were saying. They don't have any understanding of the American public.
No.
At all.
No.
None.
Both sides.
And especially the RNC at this point
Yes.
in time. Like there is a big like conservative Christian movement going on right now, and this is what they do.
Yeah. And
This is what they do.
And that's a strong movement too. Like there's a lot of people that want that.
Yep.
Whether
good
you believe,
reason.
Yeah. Whether you believe that's the right or the wrong one, we obviously believe that's the right one, but that is a strong and they're just completely throwing that to the side.
Yeah, because even people, that's the funny thing about like a Christian movement in the United States, even people who aren't Christian are going to benefit from that because of how moral and good
Yes.
the religion is
Yes.
of Christianity.
Yes.
Mitchell put Moke on the mic.
And even at the RNC, they had a pastor there, so they're covering all their bases.
There you go.
But it's just like, who are you actually supporting?
Well, and you notice that Trump's praying during that one too.
Yeah.
So he's actually involved in that one.
Right.
And apparently he had a spiritual experience, a religious experience after this.
You don't
which
say.
How could you not?
Yeah, I was
How
gonna say, you
could
don't
you not?
say.
You turn your head right in time, and the bullet goes past you. It's like, it's a pretty big deal.
Oh yeah.
Like you start to think, okay, maybe I do believe in God.
Right. Right.
So, and I can't imagine Trump was sitting there like that. He's like, I love the fact that we're talking about Israel and Sikhism the entire time. I can't imagine he's sitting there thinking that, but supposedly he's going to put Nikki Haley in his cabinet too. And, that bimbo.
Yeah.
I mean, the definition of a bimbo.
Both sides don't like her.
No.
It's like Hillary.
Nobody likes her. Yeah, she is exactly like Hillary. She is the Republican Hillary.
Yeah.
100%.
She gave her endorsement the one night at the RNC, and it's just like, I don't care about what you're saying.
Get off stage. Somebody kick her off the stage. Yeah. Why?
Who let her up there?
Yeah, who let her talk?
And I was actually talking about that with my dad, and I kind of said that same thing. It's just like, I don't care about what she's saying. I just don't. And he goes, well, you got to understand too. When you have your Republican candidates debating and you have your Democrat candidates debating each other, they all bicker and fight with each other within their own party, and then one gets chosen, and then everyone backs that person. And it's like, okay, I do understand that part of politics because they want to be the candidate, whether it's for Senate, governor, president, it doesn't matter. Like, okay. However, she is just full of nonsense from both sides of it. And I understand people can change and people can change their thoughts. JD Vance is that way. Yeah, it is JD, right?
Yeah, it's JD.
Yeah, JD Vance.
Yeah.
Who obviously got announced as the VP. He was openly
a never Trumper, yeah.
Very openly a never Trump guy, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still seeing like good and bad about him.
Yes,
at this point in time.
I am too. And and he's talked about that. He's been asked about that here in the past few days, past few weeks. it's like, well, here you are saying this, and now you're going to be his running mate. And he goes, listen, I was that way, but I saw what he was doing for the country. I saw what he wanted for the country, and I woke up to it. And it's like, okay, like I can appreciate that. You admitted, you didn't try to be like, no, I didn't say that. It was taken out of context. Like they're trying to make me look this way. He admitted to it.
That's definitely a fair analysis on your part there.
And then he admits to waking up to what was actually going on. It's like, okay, I can appreciate that. I truthfully, I don't know a ton about him, but
did you hear about the staffers around him? This is one of the good things I heard about him.
No.
The staffers around him, apparently, like they're all like 6 foot plus tall males.
I did hear about
it was
that.
so funny. People were pumped about it. It was like 6 foot tall males who they all love nicotine too, which is that was like a noted point. He's like, all of them partaking nicotine, and it's like, this is okay. I'm like, well, maybe I like this guy. I'm like, this is kind of cool. Yeah.
Well, and I do appreciate the fact he's got a beard. Like no politicians ever have a beard.
He could.
We could work on it.
He could exercise a little bit more too.
Yeah,
for sure. So could Trump.
Yeah,
cut out the McDonald's.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He is still balling. So like maybe he's got
maybe he knows something we don't. I don't know.
Correct.
If I have that much energy at 78, then I'll be pretty happy about it.
Right. Yeah. Well, so I mean, kind of last thing here, like, what do you guys think? Like, where do we go from here? What happens from here? There's been a lot of positives from this situation. It has woken a lot of people up. Like, wow, he just got shot, and here he is surrounded by Secret Service, and he is still being Trump. You know what I mean? He wasn't like in a rush to get off the stage, whether that was good or bad. Probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. However, he told them to wait. You can hear the audio of the whole situation going down. Told them to wait. He obviously puts his fist up. He says fight. And then, the picture that we've mentioned a few times.
And didn't he say, let me get my shoes too?
He said, let me get my shoes on. Yeah. So I think that kind of proves that he really is a fighter. He's not just all talk. I saw someone, it was a former, I want to say Green Beret, former military person, whatever, who was in several firefights over in the Middle East and whatnot. And he goes, everyone wants to talk that they're a fighter. Everyone wants to talk a big game, but you never know until the shots are actually being fired. Until you're in that situation and your life is in danger. You don't know until then whether you are a fighter or not. And he goes, we just saw it on live TV that this man is a fighter. And it's like, man, that's a pretty damn cool point right there.
Yeah, you want to talk about like patriotic, like stud muffin male, like that's the values that are being conveyed from this whole thing.
Yeah, just
from him.
A strong figure.
Yeah. Right.
And someone who didn't back down under that pressure and that anxiety of a situation like that. So that woke a lot of people up, and it's like, you know what, that sold me. But like we mentioned earlier, you still have the people. It's like, too bad he missed. So it's just like, I do think he gained a lot of support from this. If only for the fact that it proved that he's a fighter and he's going to fight for the things that he wants to do for the country. And most of them are positives for the country as a whole, but what do we do from here?
I wonder if they're going to, what happens from here? The answer in that question is like, I wonder if they're going to take another shot.
Yeah.
In some way, somebody's going to, who knows? I wonder at this point with the polls, how they are, because somebody made a good point. It's like the reason they were able to essentially like make it look like Biden won the election in 2020 was because the poll numbers were semi-comparable for Trump and him at that point in time.
They were close. You mean?
Yeah, they were closer.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, they're nowhere near each other. So,
Right.
Like at that point in time, do you really like, can you fudge it? Can you fudge 81 million again or whatever, that type of thing. So I also asked the question of like, what's going to happen with Biden? Are they going to put somebody else in?
I mean, here, again, it's Thursday, the 18th that we're recording this, guys. But here today, there's been a lot more talk about him stepping down and that he could be doing it as early as this weekend. And, is he going to voluntarily step down? I doubt it. I don't know.
I think Jill won't let him step down.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think she likes being in power.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But, I could see the Democrats basically forcing him out, which, he just tested positive for COVID. It's like, what? Like, it's not real. Like, it's certainly not real anymore. Like, it's not a thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if he just happened to die from COVID. You know what I mean?
Did you see what? Sorry, I have to. This is just in my mind. I gotta say it. Did you see what the MSNBC said about that? About the whole Biden getting COVID?
I'm sure I did.
I think it was
don't know,
MSNBC or like Good Morning America or some other bullshit like that. Nice. Whatever.
My personal favorite is The View.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I actually
love the ladies of The View.
Whoopi Goldberg is just my celebrity crush.
They're all rockets.
But I'm pretty sure as MSNBC, they said, and this was so outlandish you had to laugh at the video when you saw it.
You said celebrity crush. I just can't get Oh man, I'm sticking to Haley Steinfeld. You can take Whoopi though.
Crazy celebrity crush of being Whoopi Goldberg. Oh my gosh, you gotta have some things wrong mentally if that's where you're at there. But MSNBC was like, if they go, okay, so Biden now has this virus that when it was at its height, it was his age range was who were the ones that were most likely to pass from it. So then they go, so if he survives this,
I did see
is it as impressive as Trump surviving this assassination attempt?
Because they were talking about how it's like a showing of strength for Trump.
Yeah.
Getting off the stage and appearing as strong as what he did, and then they go into that, and even what's the idiot, the one.
Oh, they're all stupid.
She was the former press secretary.
Oh, you're talking about Jen Psaki.
Jen Psaki, yeah.
Yeah.
Even she, like, her reaction to that was like, did she just say that? Which tells you all you need to know.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, just like, I want to disagree with this, but because I'm on MSNBC right now, I can't disagree with it. You know what I mean? It's just like, so even their own are just like, that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. And they did this after the debate as well. CNN, MSNBC, what the other ones that we're forgetting there.
CBS, ABC, whatever,
all of them were ripping Biden apart after the debate. It's like, this was a terrible showing for him. Like, he looked bad. He didn't answer the questions. He stuttered. He looked like an old man. He looked like an 81-year-old man, And obviously Trump would be in his 80s in the presidency. However, like, I think there's a pretty big cognitive difference between the two.
Yeah, Trump takes his creatine, that's for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. As we have mentioned many times, like, you should be taking your creatine.
Yeah.
Okay. Some liberals going to be like, well, I don't want to be like Trump, so I'm not going to take my creatine.
I don't have kidney stones. It's like, okay.
Perfect. More for us.
Yeah, more. We'll take all the creatine then.
Yes. Where was I going? Well, they were ripping him apart after that. And then, after this happened with Trump, they're kind of still ripping on Biden. It's just like, like basically saying he could never do that. Dude has this fight of his life every day trying to go up and down the stairs. You know what I mean? Like,
and trying to control his bowel movements, as we spoke about last episode. It's a little kid's dance.
It is. It is. Like, some little kid standing there staring at you with like a clenched face. It's like, damn it. I know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, I know exactly what has just happened.
Dude just dirtying his pants,
His drawers are filthy.
Gives the smile afterwards, just like in the Kill Tony special. Yes. He goes, who shit in my pants? And then he goes,
dude, that was so good.
Bro,
both of them.
Anybody that has not seen the Kill Tony special with Trump and Biden in quotations, it's
Shane
hilarious.
Gillis as Trump, which is phenomenal. And then I don't even know who was Biden.
Adam Gray was his name. Yeah,
it's a fake name.
Yeah, definitely made up.
Yeah. I don't even know who that is.
But he was hilarious.
Dude, both are. I mean,
Trump was like, what do you say? This crowd, so American. Might be the most American crowd ever. Shane Gillis just delivering.
Hey, dude, he is so spot on. Like, I think he does Trump better than Trump does Trump.
Oh, yeah. There's a good chance.
Yes.
And, dude, do you see when he came out on the stage, Shane Gillis did? He started dancing like Trump, too. Like this. He was like this. Oh, it was awesome.
I think I sent you something on Twitter of like, someone had made a montage of Trump dancing. It's all just like his arms. I go, dude, he's got better moves than us on the wedding dance floor.
Yeah, because usually we're
Oh yeah, we're getting down. We're the life of the party on the dance floor at a wedding. I mean, we are.
it's true.
It's bad, but like we're there.
It's bad, but we're in the mix.
Oh yeah.
There's no doubt about
Oh
it.
yeah. Yes.
The bush lights are in the mix too.
Why would you even say that, dude?
It's like my story I posted. I had 2 bush lights in my hand. I'm like, well, maybe this doesn't look great as a fitness guy, but whatever. You know,
We were just going to town on them.
the bartender kept handing me more.
Shout out Jake's wedding there. We mentioned him earlier. It's a married man. Jake and Trent, great weddings.
Thanks for the
this
open
year.
bar, gentlemen.
Oh boy. Anyway, back to the way long ago former point here. Wow, we just got real quiet all of a sudden.
Silent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Biden all of a sudden dies. You know, whether it's from COVID or old age or whatever.
Or whatever they say.
You know, so then could force in someone else. I don't know who that someone else is. Is it Kamala?
Is it Newsom?
Is it Newsom?
Is it Michelle?
Is it Michelle?
Mike?
Mike, you mean? Yeah.
Mike.
You know, is it, who knows? Who knows?
That's the thing. That's where I think there's going to be at least 2 or 3 more crazy events. I feel like before November.
I think so,
I have a bad feeling. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I don't like that it's already July and this mid-July is we're having an assassination attempt on Trump.
Yeah.
It's like, what does that mean for things starting to really heat up, you know, as we get closer to that election point or that November night? I don't know. It worries me because of the fact that, you know, to a certain degree, it really separated us even more than it already has. You know,
I think it did.
I think it brought a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, I think it united a lot of the patriotic side of things.
Correct.
And the strong side of things and whatnot and that type of stuff. You know, and to a degree, you're right, because it's exposing the people that are the crazy ones that are saying, like, I wish he would have actually died. He would have actually gotten assassinated. So in a way, it did clear up the picture a little bit.
Sure.
You know, of like what we're dealing with here. Like they are okay with political violence is basically what's being said here.
Correct.
That's
not okay.
a crazy thing
It is.
to say. I mean, an insane thing to say.
Right. And we already mentioned it, like wishing violence on anyone.
Yeah.
Like, is not
Unless
not a
it's
good
warranted,
thing.
unless it's proven, you know,
For
all
sure.
that stuff. Yeah.
For sure. But like,
Because violence can be a tool, but not in this scenario.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. You know, but it just, yeah. In this type of situation, like that is not what you want to be saying.
Yeah. So hopefully we go in the right direction when it comes to the citizens in the next, you know, whatever it is now, 5 months, no,
Right.
4 months away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy, but
It is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm right there with you. Like, it is a little nerve wracking. It's like, what are these next few months going to look like? You know what I mean?
it's a question. Yeah.
And it's, again, it's one that shouldn't have to be asked. You know, you expect the debates to get heated and then there's commentary after. You expect both sides, you know, spilling garbage about each other. Like, okay, that's what we expect. But something like this,
Yeah.
like, come on.
Yeah. Those on the strong, patriotic, love America side really got to start buying in to what we think of as American values.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be before this election, like everybody's getting fit. Everybody's taking care of their money and their family and whatnot. Everybody's prioritizing family. We talked about that in the legacy episode. You know, strong Christian conservatives, like having a bunch of kids and whatnot. That's important as well.
Arming yourself.
Arming yourself, understanding firearms and how they are used and whatnot. If you need to defend your family with them, etc., that type of stuff. So I take care of all those boxes. There's a lot we can do as an individual citizen.
Yes.
Whether you work at McDonald's, whether you're a CEO of a company, it doesn't matter.
Right.
There's a lot each person can individually do.
Yeah.
And that means taking care of yourself and taking care of your family.
Absolutely.
All together, that's that individual excellence that, you know, that personal excellence that Andy talks about in a lot of ways
Right.
too. And it's one of the most clear messages there is because, you know, if you can focus on yourself being great, your family then will be great around you at the same time. Your faith being great, you will also be great and your family will be great around you, that type of stuff. So we check all those boxes before November and we keep doing that after November. I think we'll be in a good spot.
And that's an excellent point. We do it up to November and we keep doing it after.
Mm-hmm.
We don't just do it. We don't just look good for the next few months to get our guy elected,
Right.
but we keep doing those things, you know, and it's also universal. all of those things are universal, you know? And so if you can really get the majority of people to buy into those types of things, like, what more could you ask of a country? You know? Mitch, you got any closing thoughts on this whole thing here?
Not from the social standpoint that you guys have. I'd say if you get yourself right, everyone else will get around you. The whole idea of a rising tide raises all ships. If you can do that, you're going to impact more people outside of your control than you think, right?
Yeah.
You might not have a social media following at all. Doesn't matter. You interact with 2 to 3 people every day. They're going to interact with 2 to 3 people on their end. It's just going to flow outside from there.
Yeah.
I'd say be wary of where you spend your time, meaning what you put energy towards. Put energy towards things that matter. We could link it back to this previous episode, 127, small versus big business. Spend money at small local-owned businesses, get to know those people, kind of get on the same page with them, build a community that way. Another piece could be taking it to where you are being as productive as you can financially, because if you're financially free and you have that independence, you're going to have the ability to do stuff outside of that, outside of money, right? You're going to have the ability to shop where you want. You're going to have the ability to take back some of your time. You're going to have the ability to purchase houses that BlackRock might not have purchased, stuff like that. So I would say,
or buy back houses,
right,
that BlackRock has purchased.
So
start bringing the wave that way. Even with
there's lots of stories of folks whose parents foreclosed on a home. BlackRock buys it, throws some paint on it and some new doors, and then resells it for a $200,000 profit. That's very, very common.
Yeah.
So get right, control what you can in your life, and if you can control more, we can all do more than we think, and that's a fact. And so push the boundaries here as a person, and we'll be a better spot.
Yeah. No, I like that, dude. I like that. Mm-hmm. Well, guys, that is episode 128. At the end of all of our non-guest episodes, Money Mitch over there will ask us a Q&A question. Now, these questions can be submitted a few different ways. Number one, and probably our preferred method, is you can DM them to us on Instagram. We are at untapped.llp. You can also DM them to us individually. You can text them to us individually as well if you have our numbers. You can also email them to us. Our email is extricationfitness@gmail.com. Extrication is up on that flag behind us. Oh, yeah, we didn't even mention that. The American flag that we had hanging has seen way better days.
Way better days.
So we will be getting a new one, and we will have it hung up behind us, which we were like, wow, of all episodes to not have the American flag up behind us, this is not the one we would have chosen.
Just side note, that flag is being disposed of properly.
Correct.
It's going to have a proper flag burial.
Father Gabel is taking care of that in the correct fashion. Great add in there. Anyway, the email, extricationfitness@gmail.com. There's also an email button in our Instagram bio and on Facebook as well. And final way you can submit the questions, you can leave them in the comments of our Instagram posts or our YouTube videos. These questions can be about anything. They all go to Money Mitch, and he will pick one that either kind of pertains to the information we talked about in the episode. Sometimes it's just a genuine question. Sometimes they're funny. But Money Mitch gets them all, and then he picks it out and then asks us live here on the episode. So, Money Mitch, let's hear it.
Does Trump use Zins?
Oh, that's phenomenal.
Oh, man.
Hey, that's a actual user asked question. Come on now.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 1,000%. Yeah.
If Tucker's doing it, he is.
Yeah. Dude, Tucker ripping Australia for trying to ban nicotine while they have, oh man, that was awesome.
While
awesome.
He throws one in
awesome.
On stage. It was great.
Yeah. Short answer for Trump using Zins, yes. By the way, those of you that don't understand, nicotine is actually a nootropic and it's a positive substance. It's very focusing, mentally dialed in substance.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know that by itself that nicotine is okay. They assume that they think cigarettes or they think dip when they think nicotine. And That's not the
It's
case.
the same people that think creatine is steroids.
Exactly. Same.
I mean,
Yeah.
probably not wrong
not.
there.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah. But again, as I let you know before the episode, Philip Morris, the owner and parent company of Zins, is currently building a $600 million manufacturing facility in Aurora, Colorado. So the spice is flowing, ladies and gentlemen. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even bat an eye if Trump was using Zins. Wouldn't even be surprised a little bit.
A little upper decky before the
little-
rallies.
I'm telling you, dude, some of the most focused dudes I've ever met are the ones who use Zins. Telling you right now.
Yes.
Telling you right now.
Yes. No doubt. Man, that was a good one.
That's awesome.
I think we're 3 for 3 on the yes there. All right, guys. Well, hey, continue the support, continue the love, continue sharing the show. Guys, it's so easy and free for you to do that, and it helps us grow a ton. So please continue sharing the show to your stories, text it around to your friends and family, talk about it to your friends and families as well. If you are someone that likes to watch the YouTube video version of these, take a screenshot, take a picture of your screen, whatever, and post that to your stories. Guys, it really does. Mitch mentioned earlier, and this is not at all on the same level, but we can all do more than what we think. That is something very easy that would help us grow. And any episode that we get a ton of engagement and a ton of shares on, we see the engagement total go up. We still have a ton of our past episodes are still continuing to grow.
I keep looking at that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what? This
Which is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
no,
so
it's
cool.
great.
Yeah.
It's great. Even some of our like original episodes
Yeah,
where,
we're talking like first 5 to 10. Yeah.
where we had one mic in between us.
Oh gosh, I still feel bad for those people. I'll be
Hey
honest.
man,
dude.
you guys are OGs.
Yeah,
Like for real.
that's
For
some
real.
homies right there.
That those of you that have been here since those days, like just side note here, like you will not be forgotten. Like that is big time from you guys. There's a lot of you. And I'm sure, some of you have come and gone at different times, and that's fine too. But those of you that have been with us since the OG days where it was an old iPad, that one right there to my right, iPad camera, one mic in between us, 2 disgustingly orange couches, shoved into the
Hey,
corner.
Don't talk about the orange couches that way.
R.I.P. Shoved into the corner of this room down here. Like you guys will not be forgotten. That means a ton to us. And if this is your first time listening, like I say at the beginning, we are thrilled. We thank you for choosing us. So guys, just continue to support, continue the sharing, continue the love. And until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.